Let's sharpen a knife using a piece of paper. So I wasn't being completely honest about this knife. It was not used in a murder investigation. However, I was at a friend's house this past weekend and I noticed that he was having difficulties cutting his brisket. And after a little while, he gave up and threw his knife into the trash can, which reminded me that we live in a throwaway society. Because most people like him, and even I've been guilty of it myself in the past, would simply just throw away a knife that I no longer had a use for because it was dull. A lot of people don't know how to sharpen a knife. They may just buy a new one and feel like that's what everyone else does, when in fact some people sharpen their knife. Back in the day, everyone sharpened their knife. Throwing away a knife would have been ridiculous. So, unless your knife was used in a homicide or the like, I don't know why you would throw it away. I have no idea why you wouldn't just learn how to simply sharpen a knife, because whetstones are very cheap. So that is what this video is going to show you, is a little trick I learned a while back on how to get the correct angle to sharpen most any knife. So what you're going to want to do is get an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and you simply fold it once, and then you fold it again. And now you have approximately, if not exactly, a 22.5 degree angle, which is the angle that most knives are sharpened to. Now, I know there are some knives out there, some name brands that don't particularly go by that exact degree of an angle, but for the most part, you're going to be fine using 22.5. So all you need to do is simply fold a piece of paper twice, and the angle that you will get from the paper is going to be the angle you need to hold the knife blade at as you move it across the whetstone. Just that easy. Now, once you have your paper on the whetstone, you can clearly see that you have a nice little support here to hold the blade, and you run it down to the bottom, and that will tell you the angle of the blade and what it currently is as far as the angle. And that is the angle you're going to want to use as you sharpen the knife from here on out. Now, eventually you'll get used to the angle, and you're not going to be folding up these what look like paper airplanes to sharpen your knives. This is just a simple trick that I learned. I figured I would share to show you guys how I do it. Now, for those naysayers out there that do not believe me that this is in fact an exact 22.5 degree angle, you can take your carpenter square and line it up at the pivot point, which is how you would use the square, and you would clearly see as you count that we have approximately a 22.5 degree angle, which is what you want. And if you're not familiar with the carpenter square, you can simply put something on the pivot there and move it to see what degree angle you're working with, as I did there. So maybe I'll do a video on the carpenter square, but I think most people know how to use one. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that little tip. It helped me out a ton. Thanks for watching.